I know this was a process for you. You were looking to potentially sell the company or take on a big investment, and in that process, you decided to split the company in two. Talk to me about that process and the sort of aha moment where you decided this was the best way forward.
Yeah, it was a bit of a process, and I think when we got started, the impetus was that we knew we had a bunch of priorities we wanted to invest in as time went on, and we wanted capital. I don't think we were looking to sell, but we were definitely looking to do some restructuring. And I think as time went on, what was clear was that there were different pools of investors who were very natural partners for each of the two businesses. On the media side, there were people like Axel who had real expertise in what we were trying to do and who we felt really understood sort of the business that we were trying to build. On the same token, there were other investors in the commerce side that really understood what we were doing there. And ultimately, the more time we spent with these various different financial partners, the more we realized that even the ones who were willing and excited to potentially invest in both businesses turned out to be biased in one way or the other. And ultimately, we just said, you know what, let's take money from different partners. The businesses have already been operating independently of one another, and we're really happy we did, and we're very pleased with the outcome.
So what's your proclaimed end game here? Is there a particular media business out there that you admire, that you would like to compete with or overtake? And what about the same in e-commerce? Like, who do you view as the competition? Yeah,
that's a great question. I think on the media side, I think media is changing really rapidly, and so to identify one brand that we look up to is tough. I think, there are brands like BuzzFeed and Vox and Business Insider who have reached levels of scale that we obviously strive for. There are also traditional brands like the GQs or Esquires of the world that have built brands that have incredible gravitas and have lasted a really long time. And so I think there's sort of things that traditional businesses do really well that we aspire to. There's also things that some of the big digital guys have done that we're also a little jealous of. And so we have sort of we have a bunch of plans to go and grow there. And on the commerce side, we think there's a massive hole in men's fashion for guys. And generally speaking, women's fashion gets a lot more attention in most of the big brands that exist. Gap or J. Crew or Urban Outfitters, or lots of the brands that, at least in the U.S. market, are the most popular for people like me and my friends and the employees of our companies and people like that. And I believe that there is a big opportunity to focus directly on men and to build a new fashion brand that has the sort of the heart of a magazine and the IQ of a tech company, and that uses the internet and data to build a fashion brand that in some ways is actually going to feel it's going to be old school, and that it's going to be about creating really beautiful products that people love to wear and feel really proud to own.
So as you say, the media business is changing quickly. You're seeing a lot of deals get done for whatever reason. Do you see a future where content and commerce can really work together? Because that vision really hasn't come to fruition yet.
Yeah, I mean, content and commerce, I think for us, we believe that the way that we approached it has had a really great result. When we acquired JackThreads, it was a 6 or 7 person company doing $1 million of revenue. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've built it up to a significant scale to the point that it's graduated. It now has its own mission and its own soul and its own KPIs and needs its own capital. And so I believe that we've been successful in merging content and commerce, but it hasn't played out exactly as we might have thought it did in the first place. When we started Thrillist, we never thought about commerce at all. And as time goes on, I still believe that there is a fundamental difference in digital media than there is in a lot of the traditional mediums. So whether you're talking about TV or radio or print or outdoor, the distance between consuming content in those environments and actually making a purchase is pretty vast. And digitally, you can consume content and you can buy almost seamlessly. And so I am a huge believer in brands finding ways to use content to sell products, or retailers using content to engage. And it worked for us, although as time went on, we built 2 businesses that were quite different. And JackThreads as a fashion brand really, I think it could easily be successfully owned by a media company, but I think it can also succeed on its own.
So that's an interesting point. Where do you see both of these businesses in the next 5 years? Do you see looking to sell them separately? Do you see moving towards an IPO?
I'm actually not sure, and I'm frankly a little bit happy for a minute to not think about it. You know, after a fundraise, you're sort of in the trenches for a while in deal mode, and we have so much stuff that we're working on right now.